Let me make sure my mic is on. Just gotta love that. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Supportive Advice. I'm so glad you all are here. Thank you for joining on TikTok. Thank you for everybody that's joining on YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live. I appreciate everyone that's listening, including those that are calling in. Thank you so much for being a part of my show. My name is Aquila Wheatley, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and in the state of Ohio. And I have a slam and practice by the name of Supportive Advice. If you ever want to look that up, it is supportiveadvice.com. And so lately I have been doing Am I the Asshole series. I don't know if you all have heard of it, but I have been, and I was saying that jokingly, obviously, but I have been doing that series as well as I have been doing secret confessions. So I am going to kind of do a quick shout out to my crew, Mojo and Mr. Mochismo, who will be joining me soon. If you are a part of it, definitely get those likes up. I appreciate you. Hey Tony, hey Ridge, hey Christina, hey Patty, hey Dory. Hi everyone who has joined. I appreciate you all. So I am going to just kind of get started. This might be an interesting one. I don't know. I picked this because it seems like a pretty standard scenario, right? So, oh, that is pretty serious. Okay. So this has cursing in it for those who don't like cursing. Hey, Christine. Hey, Reg again. Oh, thank you for liking the live. Thank you for everyone that's liking the live. I appreciate the love, Reg. I appreciate the love. Christina. Hey, Joe. Thank you for joining. So this has some cursing in it, and so I'm just going to let you guys know that ahead of time. It says, all right, my fiance's period is 6 days late. It just dropped on me that I might become a father soon. I don't feel ready at all, not to drag on too long. I'm scared that I'll be as shitty of a dad as my own dad, and that's real fucking shitty. So, I think that this is a really great topic because I think a lot of individuals think about their parents, and some don't want to procreate just because of how quote unquote shitty they felt their life was, or their parents or their family, and they don't want to pass on these traits to another generation. I actually have individuals that I know that don't have children, but have, either have procedures done or have taken precautions, both male and female, not to have children just because they were like so nervous to either transfer over what they thought were poor traits, or they just didn't think that they would be good parents, unfortunately, right? So with that being said, I'm going to read some of the comments. It says, hey, it will be okay. I don't think anyone is ever really truly ready for parenthood. I had a very physically and verbally abusive mother and was horrified at the thought that I could potentially be as shitty as she is due to not having a positive role model. But I found it super easy to not do the things she did to me, to my babies. So I think that is a really great comment. And then they say, but I'm not going to lie. When I took a test in 2019 and it was positive, the first words out of my mouth were, what the fuck is this shit? Okay. Okay. So having been someone who has, experienced a positive pregnancy test. What the fuck is this shit? It's definitely an adequate rendition of what that can be like, okay? And so she said, what the fuck is this shit? Oh my God, no. All right. And so it says, my husband and I have been together for 5 years. They were together for 5 years. And though we were never trying to get pregnant, we also never did anything to prevent it. The pregnancy resulted in a miscarriage and we were devastated. Okay. We actually planned on having children, believing that we couldn't have them since we had never had so much of a scare previously. But losing that baby made us realize that we did want children. Now we have two. So this was a positive. It started with, what the fuck is this shit? Oh my God, no. But it ended with the realization of a want to parent. Mr. Machismo is here. Hopefully Mojo joins us as well. Mr. Machismo, I am going to invite you to speak as per usual. And so definitely feel free to jump in. Oh no. Can anybody hear me? I always find a way to screw something up. Fun times. It's just a thing. I just do. It's just one day out of all these days, all the stars will align. I'll actually be on at 6 o'clock. You can see up my nose. That's fun. Oh, I gotta love that. Hey, goat. I'll actually be on at 6 o'clock. My mic will be on call-in. My mic will be right here where everyone can hear me. And I don't know, everything would just work well. Hey Smith, hey Chris, how you doing? I'm gonna kind of set this down real quick because I am trying to actually do a podcast. Let me see. Mojo. Dante, can you hear me? Who failed? This is just what happens when you are a full-time parent, among other things. Ooh, this is not working. Alright, so Dante, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? It says I can hear you once. Okay, cool. Alright, so I don't know how many other people out here have had a pregnancy scare. You kind of don't know how to respond to it. Sometimes we say the wrong thing. I have said the wrong thing. I have had the wrong thing said to me. But then again, wrong is subjective, right? All depending on whether or not you guys are wrong. I think that this is a lot of what we run into. I'm still waiting, Mr. Machismo. Ooh, okay. I got a little bit.
There we go.
There you go. Did you get the topic or did you want me to read it again?
Oh, please read it again.
Okay. So this is not Am I the Asshole? But it's roundabout, from the same platform. It's a subreddit called Confessions, right? And so the guy says, my fiance's period is 6 days late. It just dropped on me that I might become a father soon. I don't feel ready at all, not to drag on too long. I'm scared that I'll be as shitty of a dad as my own father, and that's real fucking shitty. Okay? So there's that. Alright? So not to get all in your business, but to get all in your business. Have you ever had a pregnancy scare, Mr. Machismo?
Yeah, I had one. many moons ago, and I was kind of surprised. That was all it was. Just to keep it all the way funky. Yeah, but that is a very sobering situation, and he's you can tell from just even the tone he's actually saying some very reflective things that are actually kind of therapeutic for him because he's trying to figure it all out.
Right.
So it's a very humbling place. And at the same time where this guy might be about to be on the brink of something that's going to change his life forever.
That is true. That is true.
So that's wow. Yeah, that.
And I think it also depends on the
that
scenario.
is something that I'm gonna just say. Oh no, who she? Oh my good lord!
Because
Jesus.
I mean, think of it
If
like
that is something that
I think it's a delay. But think of it like this, Mr. Machismo. This is his fiance, so I'm sure that he has probably a different thought process around, whether or not she might be pregnant, seeing as though that he already intends to spend the rest of his life with her, versus some chick he met at the club that is calling all of a sudden having the same issue. I think that circumstance definitely changes your perspective with that. If you don't mind me digging, because digging is what I do, sir. It's what I do. Can you tell me more about, the variables surrounding your experience, and kind of how it came about?
With mine, it was not I think that is probably the biggest thing about it is it being somebody that you're okay with it being, and that kind of is like an important thing because it wasn't like I was just out here running amok, but it was somebody who stayed way too long around me, and it was something that was learned from. I was a little young and tender, but I was about 26, 27. Ooh,
and that is young and tender.
Yeah, I'm gonna consider that young and tender as far as that.
Okay.
Because it was so we gonna just be all the way tricked. So it was somebody that I was with for, in essence, 7 years. And
so I mean, this was somebody that you were with for a long time.
So it was the only reason it was even still a thing was because of what the same thing make you laugh, make you cry. That part of the relationship was good, but everything else was horrible. So there's that. And then, of course, there
are relationships like that. There are relationships where we can't get it together on any other platform but that one. And then there's some relationships, not to open up a horrible door here, where you get along on every other platform but that one.
Oh, that is facts. Those are facts.
Yeah.
That is very much the case. And
but 7 years, that's a long time. Was it a consistent 7 years, or was it like an inconsistent on again, off again type deal?
It was like a good 4, and then I messed around, tried to switch it all, like got up out of there, like moved to a whole nother state for some change. But they was making trips, and it was a whole mess. But the person was loyal. I was loyal per se, and we kind of. We were two attractive people, and we, tried to make it work. It was alright, but, the personalities just didn't mesh.
Mr. Machismo.
Ma'am?
Did you say,
uh-oh,
per se? Did you say you were loyal? What? You said you were loyal, per se. Would you like to clarify what that means?
Well, I was loyal until I knew they wasn't loyal. So per se.
So neither one of you guys were loyal per se. It sounds like.
Oh yeah.
But
I
that's
broke the. I mean,
relationships
they
sometimes.
broke the Laurel pack first, no. So if that counts for anything, I don't know if it does, but there's that.
So let me ask
It
you.
can, now also
Okay.
let me let me say one quick thing. Also,
Ah.
here's another kicker. Here's another variable.
Mm-hmm.
I was about 4 years younger than the individual too. That was something that I did not understand the role that played at the time.
Okay.
So hence me saying
Young and tender.
still young and tender.
Yeah, so I definitely have a different perspective of 26. I don't necessarily consider myself to have been young and tender at that particular point. Maybe tender, but I definitely don't. I don't identify myself as young. You know, 19, 20, 21, 22. But I feel like once I hit that 25 mark, I kind of like realized that I was, in a different type of, you know, category. Especially because like when you fill out paperwork, now all of a sudden you're in the 25 to 35 category. You're like, wait a minute, how did I get here? What? Why am I? So I'm no. But I did want to say really quickly, Mo, if you are able to, speak on this, Dante, Mr. Machismo, right? He asked a really great question, which was if the person cheating first accounts for anything. What are your thoughts on that? I see you, but I
To
don't
me,
hear
that's immature. It's not my job to get them back. It's my job to figure out if I will be with them or not.
you. Okay. So your thought process on
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. So your thought process on it, which was very short and sweet, was basically getting a get back in those situations can be perceived as immature. Um, so then, what I'm really hearing you say is, then no, that does not account for anything that they were unfaithful
Hmm.
first. Mo.
Um, no, because if you love somebody, I'm not gonna say every to each his own. But if you love somebody, even though they cheat on you, you have to make a choice. You either gonna talk it out, have a conversation with them.
Okay. So, I mean, it tracks, right? Because Dante called him. I mean, I'm gonna need you to just put Mr. Machismo, sir. Mr. Machismo said, that he, at that particular point in time, he was in a space where he was young and tender, which, shows for, the immaturity. Um, but the topic does touch on a topic that you said that you wanted to touch on last week, Mo, which is why people cheat. Um, Clarify that for me. I want to make sure I'm getting that topic right for you. Uh-oh, she gone. Okay, well, when you come back, we'll touch on it. So, anybody in my TikTok live, anybody on Facebook live, anybody on YouTube, have any of you all had a pregnancy scare that you guys want to talk about? All I can say is, oh my gosh, is definitely a good sentiment. I'm just not gonna lie to you. Did you hear that, Mr. Machismo, when I said that?
I don't think I heard that part.
All right, so like it was a woman, and she and she said, I'm not gonna lie, when I took a test in 2019 and it was positive, the first words out of my mouth were, "What the fuck is this shit?" Oh my god, no. Oh my god, no. I mean, I remember taking a test and well, I'm not gonna say however many years ago, but you know, my thought process was like, oh my, like I literally felt like I jumped out of my body. Like I was looking at myself, looking at the test, and then I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this, and this could not be true, but it is. It says it's true, but no, this cannot be true, and I am very confused. You know.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it was a very interesting moment. Telling the dad was not a very interesting moment, but for me, I feel like I had a lot of mixed emotions because it definitely wasn't something that was planned. It wasn't something that I was specifically ready for, I think. But it was something that positively changed my life, for sure. So I'm gonna read another comment. It says, "My mother deliberately got pregnant with me despite my father never wanting kids for similar reasons, and I will say without a single doubt he is the greatest man, father, friend any girl could ever wish for. Our relationship is so strong, and he loves me more than anything. He was scared shitless as well, but he tells me every day how I'm the best thing that ever happened to him. I hope you aren't too hard on yourself. You never know. I really hope if she is pregnant, you can put your upbringing aside and do the best by your kid. It might be the best thing that ever happened to you." So we just gonna skirt over the fact that she said her mom got pregnant on purpose, despite the dad wanting a baby. Are we just skirting?
Oh, you know how that would go.
No, I don't.
One of them
I don't
keep them
know.
babies.
One of those what?
Keep them babies.
One of the a keep
Well, you had a baby to try to keep.
But when has that ever worked?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we live in a society with a high rate of single mothers. So if that was like a golden strategy, we would have more married couples in the African American community than we do. So the keep them strategy don't be keeping nobody.
Facts.
I don't understand.
These are facts.
But I do not.
I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to. I think it's silly.
Oh, you don't think we're supposed to get it? Because I don't get it.
I think you're breaking up a bit.
Oh, okay. All right, so
because some stuff you just ain't gonna get. That's one thing. That's speaking to the maturity. Some things you just not gonna get that people just do because you're not supposed to, because you don't think in that realm. You don't think like some people just think differently because one is trauma, two is their personality, three maybe both of them. It just all depends. But you know, there's some stuff that I'll never understand. I'll never understand people that put their baby in the microwave. I'll never understand that. Makes absolutely no sense to me. But somebody thought it was a good idea. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it.
Okay. I mean,
I know a little morbid.
Mental illness is something that we can talk about here. But
you got the ideal of what I was saying, though. As uncomfortable as it was, though.
Uncomfortable.
Like there's some stuff we just will not understand.
Man,
yeah,
I need sound effects. I gotta get some sound effects so that I can start saying like tapping on stuff and making sound effects on here.
Hey, I started. I saw some, but I was about to push it, but I didn't know what was gonna happen. So I ain't push it. I literally saw some.
I don't see none, but I definitely. Oh, wow, where you found it?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all can hear that? Oh, it's going down. Oh, yeah, I found it. You see that? It's a thing that got a music button up there. Music Plus.
Oh, Music Plus. Okay. I don't know.
It's the music symbol with a
Where's my music from?
Oh yeah, it's oh it's a whole bunch
I
of.
can't even see it.
Well, anyway,
All right. Well, then you go ahead and you do the sound effects since I can't see nothing, which is weird. Nevertheless.
I'll work the board, as they say in the radio world.
Yes, please work the board. So Mo, I got you here, but you're not you're not saying much. I don't agree with with anyone getting pregnant on purpose to keep anybody, or if you have a spouse or a significant other where you know they're not interested in having children, getting pregnant purposely, which means that something underhanded was going on. I mean, obviously, but it, is, I mean, unless he just wasn't being careful, then that's on him. But at the end of the day, I don't agree with the whole trapping anyone type scenario. And in all honesty, that doesn't work. I would think. If someone wants to be with you, they're gonna be with you. If they don't want to be with you, having a kid by them is not going to make them want to be with you anymore. It's just going to put you in a position to struggle, essentially. What do you think, Mo?
I agree as well. I know there's men who try to get women on pregnant purposely too, to keep them around as well.
Yes.
And I don't agree with it. But when you were talking about a pregnancy scare, my daughter was a pregnancy scare, and it was beyond a pregnancy scare. I ended up having a baby, but that whole experience to change your life having a kid. I was 25 though,
oh, wow.
of having her. But when you have a child, it changed your life. It changed your life.
It's funny how both of us talking about pregnancy scares, and then we actually ended up being pregnant. So,
right. Motherhood is, it's a good thing, but at the same time, when you're not ready,
right,
it's hard. It's difficult. I was 25 years old. I traveled to 26 states. Already my plan was to go to all 50 states. If things change once you have a child, and especially if you're not supported, you should be supported. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Reg. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you. Everybody continue to like and share. Hey, Chris, I appreciate your follow. Thank you so much. I'm talking to those on TikTok. Definitely make sure you subscribe. Yeah, 150%. If you're not ready, which in all honesty, I don't know if you're ever really ready, because one thing that I found is that every child is different. So even if you have a child and you're like, oh, okay, let's plan for another one, based off of the experience of the first one, and then you have another one, and that one is nothing like that first one, you go through a whole completely different type of experience. You never know what you're gonna get. Whenever there is a pregnancy, there can be mental disability, there can be cognitive delays, there can be autism, there can really be anything that comes out of a pregnancy, and so you don't really know what you're going to get. And so you really be individuals that are raising kids today based off of what not to do. And so it's really hard to you're trying to do it based off of just off of seeing other people fall. So you don't know what to do, but you know when that person reached for that particular rock, they fail. So don't reach for that rock, But it becomes a really extreme version of trial and error, and it's only based off of your perspective. It's based off of ooh, my sound is out. Can anybody hear me? Can people hear me? Is based off of your perspective. What you feel.
Dante, can you hear her?
Nope.
Dang, for real?
Yeah, so my pregnancy scare was huge. We're waiting for her to come back in and come out, everybody. I just sent her a message.
Hello?
My pregnancy scare was scary. I didn't even know I was pregnant. My grandmother figured it out, and I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. And when I took the test, I was like, oh no, I am pregnant. What am I going to do?
Did she dream about fish?
No, I was at my grandma's house, and I laid on the couch, and I put my head down on her lap. And she just started rubbing my head, y'all. I'm 25 years old. She started rubbing my head. And then she was just like, you pregnant? I was like, no, I ain't pregnant. What you talking about? Then I just started thinking, and I was like, could this be possible? And so when I finally decided to take a test, I was pregnant. Yep, she was right.
My mom lightweight done knew everybody who was pregnant.
Can y'all hear me now?
Right before they were pregnant.
My mother have dream of fishes too. I don't know what that fish thing is about, but
can y'all hear me?
She dream about fishes too.
I don't know what's going on with that, but that is pretty crazy. But that's how I knew it wasn't. I was good. She ain't never say nothing.
Oh, that's how you knew.
That's how I knew I was good. She ain't said words, so I'm like, oh, we good.
Can anybody hear me?
I remember that. I'm like, really?
I'm just gonna get out of here.
That's interesting.
That's deep.
Now you talked about entrapment. You said that women entrap individuals, which is true. People do trap people. So where do you think that come from?
Can y'all hear me now?
You said it. I don't think I said trap. I said keep 'em baby. I called it a keep 'em baby.
Keep 'em baby is basically trapping to me, trying to trap somebody into staying.
You could, hey, that's that lady Catherine Bates, the Misery. That's trapping. That's what I'm thinking. She tied that dude up, and that's the difference. The one is indirectly.
Does anybody hear me?
Per se. But I mean, to be honest, I don't know, because I mean, you mentioned something about dudes that have purposely impregnated women just to keep them. Like, I never was around none of them dudes. I don't know. I can't relate to that. Like I don't know if I'm like, because I have noticed that like I probably don't like I probably have had it a little too good, because it's like I don't. Like if somebody don't like me, that's okay. We can be friends. I'm gonna just move on, because it's 15,000 more like you within of 7-meter diameter. So it's like it's not a big deal. But I mean, there's some people that they hard up. I understand love is a variable that changes your perspective of it. But I don't think I've ever loved somebody to the point where it's like, once I really had a real understanding of what was going on, like where I like chose them over sanity. Mm-hmm. But everybody's not as cognizant of their emotions. I think it's, depending on the person's emotions and how well they handle them.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that a person who intentions to get somebody pregnant, I'm not sure that they would share that with their other friends.
Oh, but that
and
ain't gonna
keep
be
that to
some.
themselves.
I mean, if they doing that, they doing other stuff too. So that's like that's not just something you just okay. Well, you on your weekends you get your girl pregnant just to keep her, or you kill cats. Like it's gonna be other signs of that. There's gonna be other stuff that's non-relatable. Where one thing I've been fortunate, I've had a good, I say about 5 friends for about 30 plus years, and a bunch of associates for that long. Where they are almost friends. Where it's not a lot of people I know that can relate to that. But what that has shown me is I've been fortunate to not only be a
Can
pretty
anybody
above
hear
average
me?
judge of character, but also been put in good places, and that's for various reasons I won't get into on this podcast. But overall, kind of just understanding that is helpful. Just because everybody can't relate to that, and that in itself is helpful at all. Also, where you can speak from a different vein than say most people.
Hmm.
But
Can
that is
y'all hear
there.
me
That is,
now?
yeah. I no, I have noticed. Like now, you won't know who the deadbeat daddies is, but once you
Hmm.
know, oh yeah, you kind of like you tell them about themselves, and then if they don't do something to switch it up, like you don't. And like I got a couple partners I done cut off for years because they ain't doing right by their kids. Like that's kind of if you don't do right by your kids, what you gonna do with me as your friend? Like I ain't blood. Like that is
Hmm.
just common sense. Like you can't even be around me.
Can
You
anybody
gotta
hear
go,
me?
cool.
That's
You gotta go,
an
cool.
that's an
Hello.
interesting thought because many people don't they don't
OMG.
look at, from what I've seen,
Still
people
no.
continue to be with friends with other men who do not take care of their children.
Because they look funny. I'm funny. I don't have to be around people. Or like I have like I kind of it's kind of bad. Like I kind of could cut somebody off without even meaning to. Like just
Can anybody hear
okay.
me?
There you go. Now we can.
Oh my gosh,
Can you hear
that
me?
was
Can you hear me
horrible.
now?
She went back out.
Oh, you back to the doldrums.
No, can you hear me?
Move the antenna.
This is so sad.
I hear some laughing.
Oh, you hear me laughing? This is
I
so
heard some laugh.
sad.
Oh, there we go. There.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Y'all was
It's
about to.
okay. We kept on talking.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, I heard Mr. Machismo say I ain't never heard or I ain't never hung around those type of dudes.
Mm.
But to your point, Mo, it's not like they running around like, hey y'all, so tonight I'm gonna get
I'm
my
gonna try
girl
to get her
pregnant on
pregnant.
purpose. You know.
I mean, but somebody like that, they
I
gonna
wanna
be they
keep
gonna
my
have other
girl.
characteristics that's gonna stick out. That ain't gonna
What?
be just the only
What?
thing they doing that's abnormal.
But
They gonna do other
what
stuff.
else
I'm not sure.
will stick out?
Um,
You don't know.
obsess- yeah, obsessive about the opposite sex. Like just kind of taking it a little too serious. Like you,
Hey
you could just
Lysol.
kind of tell who kind of like
Bye
I'm
Lysol.
gonna use it who a sucker for love. Like
Oh,
just let it be natural. Like why you be it all
Mhm.
uptight? Like you weird.
I
you
don't
weird.
know.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's cool. Of course, love is a beautiful thing,
It
but
is. Love it.
some
Love is
stuff
a
just
beautiful thing.
like you
But
just
y'all remember that
let's have
movie
some
American Psycho?
about ourselves.
Lord. Do y'all remember that movie
Never seen it.
American Psycho?
Oh, I have
You ain't never seen it?
I am not the most versed movie person. I'll throw
Okay.
that out there.
What about Dexter? Y'all seen Dexter?
Oh, Dexter, I don't see. That's what I'm talking. That's that creepy. Or you, Dexter, and the
Right.
dude you.
But real
Them the
talk,
type of people. Yeah.
when he's out in social situations, People don't know he's a creeper because he legitimately practices not being a creeper. Dexter, you
How many
like
friends do either of them have?
they have,
Neither of them really have friends.
but they're in social settings often. They're in a lot of social settings. But yes, you is not really a good example because he kills everybody. Sorry,
But
spoiler
that, I
alert.
mean,
But
Dexter is
Dexter
they in
Dexter
the
is a
same
really good
mode.
example. He had friends. He had a wife
Yeah.
and a child.
He
Remember?
had see he was a niche killer. He had more of a niche, but with the same psychotic stalker and like, oh yeah, I would get like Dexter. He was so he kind of was like he kind of was like the Robin Hood of, killing people. Like he killed the bad people a little bit, or the
A
people he
little
considered
bit
bad, I
he
should say.
did. He a
Like
little
he
bit killed the bad people. I'm with you. I he a lot of bit killed them. Um but I wanted to say before
yeah.
I cut out significantly for that long period of time that you run into a lot of individuals, or well, I won't say you. I run into a lot of individuals that have a lot of transgenerational trauma, meaning trauma that has transferred from generation to generation. And they are terrified to reproduce or have children because they don't feel like they would be good parents. They don't they know what not to do as far as they're concerned, but they don't feel like they know what to do. They're lacking positive experiences. However, you know, even though you can climb a mountain and you can see someone reach for something very specific, right? And then they reach for the specific rock and then they fall to their death. So you say to yourself, all right, not reaching for that rock because I don't want to die. You can see that. But when you're dealing with human experiences, when you're dealing with um, what I've felt in my own personal childhood affected me poorly, that's based off of a skewed perspective. What if my kid isn't like me? What if my kid doesn't need what I needed? What if I want it? What if my kid has a completely different love language? So me just basing things off of what not to do is not gonna help me be a good parent for anyone but me. I mean, outside of like, don't put your baby in the microwave, or for the example that you previously provided. But but outside of the basic, don't punch your kid, type stuff. It's like when it comes specifically for like emotional things, where you're like, I don't know how to be emotionally present. I don't know, how to be positively physically present. When it comes to those things, it gets really skewed because you're only basing things off of what you didn't like, what you didn't want, or what you feel like you didn't get.
Yeah, you have no way of knowing what little Jeffro and them gonna like or dislike.
Jeffro.
They may be a whole different. They may be a whole different ball of wax. That's the beautiful thing. That they gonna have some of your traits, but they not necessarily 100% a piece of the old block or whatever the saying is.
Yeah, they're
There's
not
gonna
a
be some
chip off the old
similarities.
block, is what you
Yeah, there
know.
it is.
And Mo, you can probably attest to this because you have a child as well. None of my like I don't look at any of my kids and say, "Yep, that's me." Like all the way. Now I might say, that might have been something I would have did, or that kind of reminds me of a trait that I have. But I don't look at any of my kids and say, "Yep, that one's just like me," because the reality is none of my children are just like me. Why? Because they're not me. They didn't grow up like me. They don't necessarily think like me. They were born a mixture of myself, their father, and and different experiences that they have is what add to their perspective. So at the end of the day, if I'm trying to, cause and I fell into this as a young parent, not the second time around, but I fell into this as a young parent. I'm just gonna not do all the things that I thought were things that negatively contributed to my childhood experience. But now my daughter is running around at 19 and she's like, "Well, I didn't like what you did that either. Or that, or that, or that, or that. And you did that, and that too. And one time you was doing this. You said that." And it's just like, how could I have possibly known? Like I would have had to just be mute, and even then that would have been a problem. I didn't like that you wasn't talking. You didn't talk a lot. It's like it's always something that someone is going to perceive as inadequate. And that exoneration piece doesn't come full circle most of the time until after that child becomes a parent. So Mo, what are your thoughts on on that? How efficient do you feel like
I,
it is doing parenting based off of what you think not to do?
um, wow. I would say that my daughter, okay, my daughter is 16 years old. She has told me, when I have a kid, I ain't gonna be like you. I swear I'm not. I hate you. I've had them conversations, but I thought the same thing about my mother as well. And like you said, I didn't understand what my mother went through with me until I had a child myself. And so those experiences are very interesting. Even when you talk about trauma and the things that we experienced, and why some people are living in fear to have children or chose not to have children because they didn't want to be like their parents. I also learned some things that I said I would not repeat. I did repeat unconsciously.
Yes.
So one of the things I'll share that I'm okay with sharing is that my mother was not very affectionate with me. So I really didn't start off affectionate with my daughter. Um, Not only that, I had postpartum and not knowing that I had postpartum. Um, However, throughout the years, my friend, because she knew, we did groups and therapy together. One of my mentors is a therapist. And so after learning things, I started seeing things and sharing in a group. And my friend was like, "Monicia, you was doing good, but now it looks like you're not showing her affection like you used to." And it checked me, because I was like, "Oh my God, I'm doing something I said I would never do," but I became unconsciously doing the act that I wanted to do better in. And so, yeah, so those are some things that you can experience of doing. And being a parent is not easy. It's not no manual book. And like you said, growing up, your culture, how you grew up, even with my daughter, she doesn't realize she has it good. She in the suburbs. I didn't grow up in the
Say it.
suburbs.
Say it, bro.
She has a used to eating scallops and things like that when she was
Say it.
small. When I was when I was small, I had beans and hot dogs all the time, a few times out the week. Like, so, so there's a difference in how we grew up. You know, I played outside. She don't want to go outside. You go outside for what? What do you mean? Go outside. Get out of here. Go down the street. You know. So
Now my mom, she was a
that's
she
my
was she
thought.
was a she was a bougie eater. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I
I
experienced
even have people who I've came across people who did not have kids and they regret that.
You said they regret that they didn't have kids.
Oh, you was lucky.
Oh, there must be a delay. Yeah, I was saying my mom was the
She
bougie
going.
eater, so I always got to eat. I always got to
Yeah.
eat pretty good. But I want to go back to what you were saying when you said that people were they regretted not having children, after the fact. I take it these are possibly females.
Yes. I know a few females. They said they didn't want to be a mother. They thought being a mother was not attractive because they had their own mother issues, and so they said they wouldn't have kids. And now they're older. They're in their 50s and 40s, and they wish they would have had children.
Mr. Two Extra, what's your thoughts? We're talking about transgenerational trauma and how it affects our want to have children and carry on our legacies. Um, so yeah, I definitely agree. There's a lot of transgenerational trauma that we're seeing that I see, on a regular basis. But another thing that I see a lot of is individuals looking to heal. They want to heal. They yearn to heal. You know, so we have Mr. Two Extra, and we're gonna take him as a caller, and then we'll respond to what he has to say.
Queens, and I'm not sure what Dante is, so please forgive me. I'm saying this, it's a lot of pronouns going around here. A lot of people are identifying themselves as a lot of things, cats, dogs, he, she, and it's causing a lot of confusion with people. When you see them and you know that they're a female, you know that they're male, but they want you to call them something different. Is causing confusion, and they get mad at you. They want to be known as this, and I think it does cause drama to the kids. I have a family member who's going through the surgery to make herself a male. She has also already got a government male name. Her name is changed. She changed her name to a male name, and she has a daughter. I believe is 8 years old now. Now I'm thinking that this is confusing to her. She's 8 years old. She know that mommy was a mommy, but now mommy is want to be called daddy. I think it's very confusing, and if it's not confusing now, I think down the road it's going to confuse her. She's going to have some kind of psychological fallback behind this. I do feel that. I'm praying for the both of them. And here's the issue that her mother became like that. And I'm not sure if this was all due to this, but she was raped. You know what I'm saying? She was raped by her aunt's boyfriend.
Wow.
And he left a $20 tip for her after he raped her. And how bad is that? Um, and I
Goodness.
believe that this is causing a lot of things. That there are women going through issues or had issues happen to them as a kid, and they decide to go a different method, and that different method is being a stud.
Oh, I think I lost sound. You're talking about a very interesting topic, but I lost your sound. You know, while we're waiting on that sound to come back, I kind of wanted to, I don't want to say address that, but I do want to validate that, there can be correlation sometimes between male experiences and a want for a control that they may that some individuals may have felt was robbed from them. And I'm not gonna go out on the limb and say that that's the case for everyone. I'm not. I would never say that. Whether in transgender, what have you, um, I definitely wouldn't say that that is the case for everyone. But I will say that there are cases where there are correlations between assault or a longevity of abusive relationships, whether that is emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually abusive relationships that can lead to those types of behaviors. um, and I think that that has a lot to do with being victimized and really feeling as though there was some amount of power that was stripped from you, that as that gender you're unable to regain. And I hope that individuals
If
understand that.
anyone's speaking, it's a big delay because I can't hear anything.
Can everybody hear me? Mojo, I saw you. You said it can
Yeah,
play
I'm
a
not sure
part.
where the ladies went, but yeah,
Can you
that
hear
was
me?
good because it is a very, very confusing time where up is down and left is right. The things that we thought were absolutes are now determined by your own individual perception of that. And, you can't really expect people to understand what you're calling yourself, but, in this, land of the free, quote unquote, this is in theory, one of the benefits. You can call yourself and say you identify as a Tyrannosaurus Rex if you decide to. That sort of thing is
But are
perfectly
we
accepted.
saying that
Um,
identifying as a Tyrannosaurus
Confusing,
Rex is the
but
same
it's
thing as being a
definitely accepted
lesbian?
nonetheless. But yeah,
Are
it's definitely a time where there's a lot of confusion when,
saying
you have situations where people are coming from a place of hurt.
identifying
It leads them to do things that
is the same
may, in
as being
retrospect,
a
be
lesbian?
something they may not do
I don't
again.
agree with
But
that.
a lot of times, it's too late, and
I don't know what's going on with
that's
this
that's
sound, but
that's the
I
scary
don't
part
agree with
because
that.
I feel like an old person saying it, but I think a lot of people that made aggressive life choices at this juncture in their life.
I don't know what is going on with the sound right now. I know that it is very irritating for anybody who can actually hear me. Um, I'm not gonna get bent out of shape about it, but
To the things, and you mentioned something very, very important, about just knowing, what's going on around us. And,
Mr.
if you
Machismo, can
have
you
any
hear
type,
me?
can you hear me? I can hear you.
Okay. I apologize. I have to jump in a few moments ago. Are we saying that identifying as a Tyrannosaurus Rex is the same as someone being a lesbian?
Well, I'm saying that is what you're calling yourself. We have the society nowadays where you are whatever you say you are, and that is, perfectly fine for the person. That's up to their individual decision.
But there's a confusion there. What if I want to identify myself as the richest man in the world, and that's not true? So I'm not the richest man in the world. So when is it? When is the line drawn when it
Oh,
comes?
I'm with you. I'm with you. But I mean, it's just one of those things. People are gonna just do what they want to do, and that's their life. That's their choice. I won't speak bad about it. But I will. I have an opinion, but my opinion is totally irrelevant.
I
It's
mean,
about whatever
it's
that
not
person chooses to
irrelevant.
do because it is their life.
Well, really, it's not irrelevant because,
Uh,
and can you hear me?
oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's not irrelevant because you represent
represent a group of people. You don't just represent you. You know, there are a multitude of people who have the same opinions that you're describing. Um, you know, for a long period of time, I believe until like the 1960s, 1970s, possibly, being a homosexual was actually considered a mental illness. And so, you know, I think that it's really important to open up our mindsets to what people are actually going through out here. You know, not and this is not me saying it is a mental illness, but it is to say that things are and have been misclassified. That you know, if you are born with a sexual attraction to someone that is of the same sex, you know, that's not the same thing as saying that you're born a dinosaur. You know, and a lot of times when individuals are transgender, they go through very serious procedures, very painful procedures to try to correct their body to fit with how they identify. And even those individuals that are post-op that have gone through that are legally considered the opposite sex now, are still struggling to be acknowledged as how they identify. How is that fair?
So can let me chime in on this. So let me give you an example, because I don't take away what someone says, but I do believe the truth is the truth. So I was a correction officer for 15 years in a juvenile setting, and I worked on boys' pods and the girls' pods. Now we had an individual who came in who had a sex change and demanded to be on a girl pod. Now, and it had to be treated as if there was no that this person still was not male, because she did not always how can I put this, um she didn't, her procedure wasn't all the way done, everything, her hormone pills, everything, let's just say that. However, I have a bunch of young ladies on the unit who have to pull down their shorts, shake their panties out, and then we have this individual here who was getting the procedure and taking hormone pills, but made a comment as if she enjoyed girls still. Maybe she never. I don't know how to. Who felt violated and felt like this individual should have not been able to be in a room with them, because everyone knew that the procedure wasn't completely done, or the hormone pills was not. And that's not fair. The truth is, there's the truth. There's only girls units and there's boys units. And even though this person is consider themselves as a girl, that was not fair to the people who felt violated.
Now,
So I'm just
specifically what I was talking about, Mo, is, and I validate that your opinion in that example. I think that that was an amazing example. I think that what I was specifically talking about, though, is individuals that are post-op. That means that they've already gone through the procedure. They no longer have whatever genitalia they were born with. They now have the genitalia that matches how they identify, but they're still struggling to be identified the way that about they were going through the hormones, but they sound like they were still pre-op. But at the end of the day, like some of these individuals are going through major multiple procedures, because they don't identify with the gender in which they were born, and they're going through all of these things because they feel the need to match their body with the gender in which they feel like they actually identify. And so if I'm going to go through all of that and I'm going to legally change my name And I my once I'm post op, my gender legally is the gender in which I have had the operation to become, essentially. So at that point, how are we not properly identifying these individuals? How is that fair at that point? How are we defining woman? Because if we're defining woman by someone that has female genitalia, then essentially they're a woman now. If we're defining male as someone that has male genitalia, then essentially if they're post-op, then they're male. That not true at that point. Just wondering.
To me, I mean, to be real transparent with this type of subject, that's why I made the dinosaur comparison. And going back to what I mentioned about, some stuff I ain't supposed to understand because I can't relate. I can't relate to identifying as a dinosaur, and I can't relate to identifying as a woman. So I just, leave that to the experts or whomever. And because I don't have a horse in this race. This is just one of those things where it's so ignorance is bliss because it's a little too much uh semantics for me. I just say even I'm not
You
cultured enough for
you
all that.
you can have the surgery and have the body parts, but you can identify a woman and the man what they were born as biologically.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing that's very, to be honest, this steams my kettle. Like I have an opinion. There is a group of individuals that are gonna be very aggressive about acting as if I'm a bad guy because I have an opinion that is different than theirs.
Right?
But you know, and that I got a problem with that. Because I mean they get what they looking for if they really want it. But at the end of the day, like we peace loving, but like you're not about to tell like you was who you was when you got here. That is my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. I don't care what your opinion is, just like you should care about mine. And that's it. That's all. I have no apologies. That is my opinion. I am entitled to it, and that is fine. I don't wish anybody any ill will, or I love everybody. I want everybody to thrive and be great. But as far as that particular subject, this is how I feel. We don't even have to talk about it anymore. And bam, everything is copacetic.
I think
Butterflies and daffodils again.
But see, that's what scares me, Dante, because when you talk about
if you talking, first like I don't think we can hear you at all.
can you hear me?
I feel like you talking. We don't know it.
I am talking. Can you hear me? I'm talking. Can y'all hear me?
a little bit.
Partially. Yeah.
Lord have mercy. This sound. Oh my gosh. I think
Yep. I felt like you was talking, but we didn't know.
I feel like guys doing that on purpose.
Yeah, we can hear you now. We
So
can.
I don't put my foot in my mouth, but I think that opinions are valuable. It is what brings diversity, right?
Hey, it's your opinion. Whatever your opinion.
Right. Your opinions bring diversity. However, when there is an opinion, there's going to be subsequent opinions to that opinion, and that's life. You know, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean the other person is right. It just means that anytime we have an opinion and we go as far as to express it,
I don't know. I am not somebody that can answer
That's
that politically correctly.
that's
I ain't
why
gonna
I
lie.
said
what
the
is
truth
what
needs to
is
be the
the
truth, and it
question?
is what it is. And because, like I said, that being in a correction setting, those girls felt violated.
But that person was
And
pre-op.
even if the person did have the pro-op procedure all the way, there were still signs that this individual was not a biological woman. And so I don't think it's fair to everyone else. Um, you know, I wouldn't want my child in a room in a bathroom with someone who could be I'ma just
This is ridiculous. This sound, all of this is just ridiculous right now. I don't know what is going on.
truth or accept the truth when they hear it.
See,
I'm kind of agitated that you cannot say the
Nick,
welcome back.
I said
Welcome back.
what I was saying. Well, I was talking the whole time. Just FYI, anybody know if anybody know. But my thing is, what is the truth? You know, it's like everyone's talking about the truth is the truth, but then for whatever these individuals are believing, that is true to them. They're not making it up. It's true, you know, to them. And what I also was saying is that the person that you're speaking of, Mo, in that example, which again was a really great example, was pre-op. That's one. And two, there are women who like women that are in correctional facilities. So there are women who were born female who like other women. You know, and so they could have equally made a sexual comment about another woman. Now, would those girls have felt equally as violated by that person? Like, is this just about gender, or is it about sexuality? I'm really wondering, like, kind of where that's coming from, because again, who you're attracted to does not necessarily have to be the opposite of the gender that you are. So even if I'm a male that feels that I'm a female and I go through whatever procedure to become a female, that doesn't have anything to do with who I'm attracted to. That is how I might sexually identify. That doesn't have anything to do with. Is that on her?
Oh no! Oh, my bad. I was pulling. I actually was pulling a candle out. I felt like smelling this candle.
Lord have mercy. But that doesn't have
Randall.
anything to do with who I'm attracted to. What my gender is has nothing to do with who I'm attracted to. So those are two different things. I deal with individual, and I think that I am happy to be transgender myself or anything, but because I have clients that are transgender, I have clients that are a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and so I'm familiar with their struggles, and and I don't think that it's fair to say that whatever it is that they're believing in or going through is not their own personal truth.
Yeah, you must have read my mind because I was gonna say you're pretty passionate about this. Like
I
I
am.
felt the passion.
Yeah,
I got a question for you. I got a question for you. So when do that trip begin? When do that trip begin at 6 or when they 18? You know, when
Oh
did the trip
Lord
begin?
Jesus. It
truth tends to be consistent throughout life, and so a lot of the individuals that I am, that I know, from a professional standpoint, knew very early on that they felt that either they were misgendered, or that they were attracted to the same sex, or whatever the case may be, very early in their life, and it remained consistent throughout their life. It wasn't like one of those things where it was like I woke up and it's Tuesday, so now I'm a guy. It wasn't like that.
I believe that one. That is a slippery slope. Oh, I believe that one. That's a whole subject that I am not mature enough to handle. Discussion
I
wise,
love
I
that.
know
I
my
love that,
limits.
Mr. Machismo. I
I
love
am
that
not.
you do
I'm
that.
just being honest. I will exit stage left on that because that one could get. That is so. Ooh. Mm, man.
I said that because I hear actors allowing their kids to be where they want to be at a younger age.
Oh, let's not go down this road.
I'm just saying. And sometimes I wonder who is the parent and who's not the parent. And can it be changed at the early age if you catch it, if you know it? Can you change it? I ain't talking about beat it out of them, but can you have therapy about it? Or could you find out what the root is? There's a reason why they like the opposite sex. Is it? Or is it truly something that they were born with in their DNA, you know? That's all I'm asking.
Well, interestingly enough, and this is something that you can look up after the show or even now. There's actual research that shows chromosomal differences in individuals who identify within the LGBTQ plus community versus those that are heterosexual. There are different parts of the brain that light up in these individuals as it relates to attraction than in those that identify as heterosexual. So there are definitely genetic differences um, between individuals that subscribe to this community and individuals that are heterosexual or feel like that they were never misgendered.
You don't know.
Okay, I will have to check that out for you. I just wondered because I see, I see kids and I'm like, oh yeah, they a little sugary, they're a little, I can tell where they're going. You can see it yourself. That's, if their parents don't see it, you can see it. The way they move and the way they act and the way they talk is not very manly or it's not very female-like. So you can tell. But then, what is tomgirls? There are tomboys. What are tomboys? They're girls who act like studs and then they wake up or they decide they want to be women, I guess.
So tomboys, from what I understand from a social perspective, are girls that for whatever reason don't fall into the traditional stereotype of the female gender. They're not. They don't like to wear dresses, or they don't care about makeup, or they don't care about getting their hair done or their nails done or whatever the case may be. They're not prancing around trying to get a piece of boys. They have other interests, and so they're considered tomboys. But that doesn't have anything to do with their sexual attraction. They can be attracted to their best friend who's male, but the male doesn't see them that way because they don't fall into this traditional female stereotype. And then at some point, maybe they get older, and they understand that the only way to get the type of attention that they want is to then all of a sudden kind of assimilate into the culture and do things that they might not have actually felt the need to do personally. So you do see a lot of that. But you also see that from males as well, which is where you get it's the concept of over masculinity or whatnot, where there's individuals who maybe they have feminine traits, or maybe they're metrosexual, but they're so afraid of individuals toxic masculinity. They're so afraid of individuals thinking or linking their sexuality with these traits that they overcompensate. And so you get a lot of that, but that a lot of that behavior is societal. It's a form of assimilation. Did I lose
I know what you just said. I understand what you're saying, as far as what you're saying. But when you look at it from the worldly or the carnal mind, it's confusing. It's very confusing. You being a straight person and you're looking at all of that, what you just said, and they all mix in a big pot. It's confusing. It seems the same. When you look at it from a person who's straight, everything you just said seems like it's the same thing. It's like it's no difference, and it can, as you say, it can be very different. But when you look at it, it's the same. So what do a straight person do when they see that, or they go get a job application and they see this person and they want to be this now, but you can't call them that because you keep forgetting that they are a she, and they want to be called a he, or they are he and they want to be called she. You keep forgetting, then you offend them, and then they get aggressive with you because you offended them. It's not like you being a ma'am. I said, well, hey, ma'am, how you doing? No, don't call me ma'am. I'm too old to be a ma'am. Don't call me sir. I'm too young to be a sir. Don't call me. It's not like it's like that. You know, something that you can change because you can use. They don't want to be called sir, so you just call them by their name. I mean, how do you please them? Or how do you please people who are like that?
So, I'll give an example, right? So, you know, the individuals on this call, at least the three that are live now, I would say, at least from appearances perspective, are African American. How many names have we gone through um, within the African American community to describe our race? We were colored at one point. That was our thing. We were black. We were African American. Like we went through a lot of different identifications as African Americans that we would accept at some point, wouldn't accept at other points. If you called us colored at a point where we were saying no, we're black and we're proud to be black, then we're offended. It's a similar principle. If I am telling you how I identify, all I expect from you is to respect that. If I'm telling you how I identify, all I expect from you is to respect that. And if I have, because maybe I am a male, but I have, or maybe I am a female that now identifies as male, but I have very feminine traits still because I haven't gone through any type of hormones or and I'm not post-op, right? But if I tell you, hey, just FYI, I identify as male, then I expect you to respect that. Now, if you genuinely forget, you know what I'm saying, then that's one thing. But if you are making a stance not to respect my pronouns just because you don't agree with them, at that point, you're just being disrespectful. And it's like if that is what I'm saying I am, what does it hurt you to respect how I feel about myself? What does it hurt you? What does it take from you to respect me?
I mean, that makes sense the way you point. You're right. It does make sense. Then this thought just came to mind. What do people think that they schizo because they feel that they live they have two entities in them, but they only identify as one? Uh, is that a mental issue that they go through being schizo? Is that uh,
Schizophrenia is a completely different thing. And in all honesty, a lot of individuals that are schizoaffective don't realize it. So if you ever have like I'm schizophrenia, 9 times out of 10 they're not, because they have schizophrenia or suffer any type of schizoaffective disorder, their reality is skewed to the point where they don't realize it. And so there's individuals in their inner circle that might be telling them, hey, something's going wrong, something's up, or whatever the case may be, but they don't recognize it because they only see their own reality, and it can become very dangerous at that point to try to correct them, or to not acknowledge whatever is going on with them because there's a lot of paranoia there, and schizoaffectiveness disorders are some of the most aggressive disorders, and so it can really lead to a lot of aggression. Individuals with multiple personality disorder, that's something different. That's not schizophrenia. Um, and so that is when individuals will, and a lot of times this comes from trauma where they dissociate because they've gone through a very specific trauma, and so their mind has created created as a coping mechanism, a split in personality where it wasn't actually them that was going through the trauma, or someone emerged that within them that protected them because of the trauma. So those are two different things. Just to provide clarity on that. And therapy, a lot of times when you're dealing with someone with multiple personality disorder, is to conjoin the different parts of oneself back into one whole self. So we went in a lot of a lot of different directions. Mr. Two Extra, I really hope that you subscribe. We are here every Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. for the most part, 6 o'clock. Give me at least like 6:15 ish. Because I don't know, just do please. And Dante is here. He identifies as he and him. I just want to make sure that I put that out there because in the chat he said he is all man. So he just wanted to make sure he threw that out there. And
Oh yeah, me.
he's Mr. Mochi. He's Mr. Machismo. He is on my panel as the male perspective. Mojo was
I will. I enjoyed this.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you were able to have this conversation. I'm so glad that you came on as a caller and you asked your questions. These things are very important. Digging down into trauma, digging down into identity and things of that nature, and just respect for people as people is so important. So I hope that you join us again, and please subscribe. I thank everyone who came on, all those who spoke. I thank my panelists, Mr. Machismo, who is Dante, and Mojo, who is Monicia. I thank you guys for joining me every Thursday. You all bring so much new perspective to the show, and I appreciate you all. Thank you everybody who joined on TikTok. Thank you for those who joined on Facebook as well as YouTube. Make sure that you all subscribe to the channel. If you're wondering how, all you have to do is scan the QR code or take you directly to call in, and you can register and subscribe. So I hope you all have a great rest of the week. Thank you for all the comments. I appreciate all of you so much, and I will see you all soon.